December, 2 years back, heavily smoking. 26th, 0.
Since then it is 0?
Since then it's clean. He was like, कितनी बार छोड़ेगा? मैं कहा नहीं, अभी छोड़ दिया. कहता क्यों? मैं कहा छोड़, तुम नहीं समझो. I was focused on complete my work, go home, rest, looking forward to the morning to cycle. It's spiritual for me now.
I think it is meditative also.
Very meditative. There will be hours on the saddle when you're riding which you can't recall after the ride. When you dedicate something, yourself to something, everything comes together to show you the right path, to make sure you walk the right path and give you all the support and the tailwinds that you are able to do it. If your purpose is weaker than the addiction of smoking, it will never succeed.
True. Hello everyone, my name is Pranav Vashisht and this is The Gut Feel Show, a podcast on mental well-being where we invite guests from all walks of life and we discuss different aspects of well-being in their profession and in their life. Our today's guest is Hitesh, who is a passionate cyclist who turned from a chain smoker to cycling over time, and he actually realized the importance and transformation that it has brought in his life. He also spoke about the different stories that he have collected over this time, and we also discussed about the recent heart attack to a cyclist in Bangalore, the technical details, and also we discussed about the mindset that is needed to come out of any addiction and what is the mindset that is required to go deeper into cycling. Please keep watching till the end and subscribe us for more such interesting content. Welcome to the Gut Feel Show. Hitesh, how are you doing?
Thank you. Very well, Pranav. Thank you very much for having me. Feels great.
Great. Let's begin by your transformative journey that you had.
Right.
Please describe your journey from smoking addiction
Right.
to a cycling enthusiast. Let's listen more about that.
Sure. So I'll take you a couple of years back into my life. So as my work life, I am a corporate lawyer.
Okay.
So it all started with my journey when I was in the law firms, and work pressure is high in the law firms. So you're figuring out what you're running after in life, right? It tends to be a race. It tends to be a non-stop work addiction, and you feel that you're enjoying the work. But I think after a couple of years, when you've got family, you've got kids, you realize there's just no time for anything else than work. I think that's when it started hitting me. And then I also realized what happens in this type of a work life is you eat anything and everything.
Your focus goes away from that.
Yeah. So there's completely no focus on good food. It's like food, coffee, tea, alcohol, and cigarettes. I think everything manages your stress levels.
I think cigarette and alcohol seeps in from somewhere. Everyone tries to mentally avoid it, but it just seeps in because the work style is so that you have so much stress.
Yes. So it just gets into your lifestyle. So where I was, I think I was a 2-pack a day smoker.
Wow.
I won't say a heavy drinker, but occasional drinker.
But a heavy smoker.
Heavy smoker, much heavy smoker. So I think you would see me, if you see me in a day, anytime, there would be a cigarette in my hand. That was the thing.
Okay.
Plus, your weight keeps increasing and you don't realize it. But when this self-realization happens and you see all the parameters are off the charts, I think that's when you realize, what am I doing? I think what I did differently was I took it a little seriously. I did not just keep going with the flow. I thought it was a time when I had to make a choice. That's when I realized work is not my life. Work is just a means which gives me income to manage my life.
That is the right mindset.
Yes. So work shouldn't be 24 hours a day. It should be X number of hours, and rest is life.
There should be that cut, that break, that you leave it.
True. Weekends need to be off work. So these were the principles which started coming into my head, but I was not sure how, when to imbibe these and move towards this.
Okay.
I think my family was after me to quit smoking. My wife was after me to quit smoking, but nothing was pushing me enough to quit smoking. I think parallelly as this was happening, I stepped outside the law firm culture. I moved into a startup ecosystem. I started my own startup.
Oh, wow.
Again, stress situations, right? So everything just kept increasing. All of these thoughts were on the side.
Much more because that's a very lonely journey.
Yeah, very lonely. So we were 2 people, me and my co-founder, very good friends from the same law firm.
Okay.
But again, the business is not going. You're doing everything. You're outside your comfort zone. So I would say we were decent lawyers, right? We were much above the average lots. And we were doing good. But once you take the plunge, it's down to zero. everything is on you, marketing, sales, getting new customers, maintaining operations, and we had no background. I think that was
multiple hats.
Yeah, that was a slap on our faces. We were learning on the job. Tough times, and I think all of this just aggravated. All these good thoughts vanished. But then the startup didn't do very well, and then there was a time when we had to phase it out. I think that gave me 5-6 months of quite free time to reinitiate all these thoughts, and they came back naturally to me. They just came back because I had so much time to think about what am I doing in life, how am I going to maintain my career.
So introspection started.
Introspection started. My full day was free, right? I had two options. Either I just Netflix and chill and just figure out what's going to happen, or I could do something productive in this.
Yes.
I think that's when I got some introduction to cycling. I started running first.
So cycling was a recent introduction around when you were
2016, 2017, something of those periods. So the startup was fading off. I started running. So running gave me a good high. I was decently running.
But that must be causing you some initial impact because
definitely,
of smoking?
Yeah. So that was a big impact. So the lungs definitely had no power to absorb oxygen. So maybe 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer, I was out of breath. The pace
How was
slow.
that feeling? Like, I want to know specifically because a lot of people who are addicted to smoking by their lifestyle are avoiding any kind of sport because it feels very guilty.
It does, and the journey would start like that.
But how was that feeling when you first started it and you were like, I'm not capable of it?
It was like a mirror.
Okay.
So all those thoughts which I had that what am I doing with my health, what am I eating, where am I with my mental capability and strength, I think all of that showed me in the mirror where I was actually. I was 0 to none.
Oh.
So that was bad. And I think the other bad thing that I did was I quit running because I was not able to do it.
That is what comes naturally because we are used to in our upbringing, the school education system, we are used to avoid things we are not good at.
Yes. And that was the natural progression, right? And I was coming from a career where everything was good. You were acing everything. And now this was probably the first or the second time you realized after a startup, no, I'm not good at this thing. How is this possible? And that breaks your sharar, right? That just breaks the myth.
Makes you fall down.
Yeah, brought me, I think put me to the Patal Lok, not even on the floor. That's where I was. But I quit running. So that was, I think, I won't say a mistake, but that taught me so many things and pushed me towards cycling. So that was one positive.
That was one part of your journey.
Yes.
That helped you transition to cycling.
And I thought it was difficult for me. So that difficulty level plus the fatigue levels at 1 kilometers, not being able to hold up or walk, and the pains after when you come back from a smaller run also. I think all of that, because my health space was very bad, all of that caused a lot of trouble, difficulty, and I just gave up.
Because see, the mind is running in a different trajectory that I'll ace at everything because we have grown up like that.
Yes.
But since the body got deteriorated, there is a conflict between the mind and the body.
Always.
Why are you not able to do it?
Always. And you can't make peace with that situation. It is difficult for the first time for sure.
Okay.
So that's when I quit. Still no job, no nothing. We were at a Delhi market buying a cycle for my younger one. I think at that point my wife said, see, there's a cycle shop for the bigger cycles also. Why don't you pick one? You always wanted to do something healthy. You quit running, but I think this is easier than running. This is a low impact sport compared to running. Less on knees, and you'll probably go like to the local grocery shop 4-5 kilometers every day. That's how it started. I still remember we bought a cycle there. It was an impromptu decision. No planning, no nothing. She gifted it to me. We brought it home. I had a school friend who was cycling.
Okay.
I just patched up. I was like, Rahul, let's go for some rides together. We started cycling 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers every day. And trust me, it used to feel I've conquered the Everest after 10 kilometers. That was
I'm sure.
And 10 kilometers used to take an hour, 1.5 hours, slow pace, easy chit-chatty rides and all of that. I think from there it started.
That small adrenaline.
That's small. Yeah. So that positive feeling that it gave me, unlike the running thing, because it's a low impact sport, I think that got some high, some hormones running in the body that I'm liking this. And I was jobless, so I had nothing to do. So this was all that I could have done. But then I got a job, moved into the corporate life. The organization was very nice. I think when I told them I want to pursue a thought of life wherein work is not life, I think they were very much on board. They were like, Hitesh, we completely align with this. And till the time the deliveries are happening on the workspace, we are perfectly fine. So it's all okay. And I was like, I'll commit to delivery because I am somebody who, if I sign up for something, I will give my 100%. I will not worry about the outcome because that is not in my control. But I'll give my 100%. It worked fine. 3-4 years. I think in those 3-4 years, I got so much of flexibility, time management, professional time management, all of that, that from 5-10 kilometers a day, we were at like 200-300 kilometers a week.
Wow.
So weekly run time was very good. And that
did you see what kind of transformation did you see on your physical health and mental health while this happened? What were the changes that you observed?
So I'll say at that point, I didn't notice much on my physical side because I was eating a lot too.
Okay.
So what I was practically doing was, another good thing which cycling was doing was, it was helping me burning a lot of calories. So all the chola bhatura,
so that
all
wasn't
the
getting stuck. It was just moving out.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you stayed as you were, but everything that
because your
eating,
metabolism went up and
yes,
everything
yes.
was working fine for
Burn
you.
rates were high. But I think one significant change was the daily lifestyle became active.
Routine
became active.
Okay.
So I didn't feel lethargy at 12 noon, after lunch, evening, 4 p.m. Fatigue. I didn't have all of that then. I think that all became a very active lifestyle. I was tired by about 10ish every day. But what I generally started doing was I started sleeping early too, because every morning there was a ride. For a ride, you generally get about 4:30ish. 5:15 you meet the gang, you ride, that was the schedule. Come back around 7:30, 8ish and get ready for work, leave for work, come back. 10ish you are drop dead tired. So I used to spend the evenings with my family, wife and 2 kids, and then doze off at 10ish. That's stuck with me since then.
And this is when you were completely off smoking?
No, so I was still smoking.
Okay.
So smoking quitting happened. So with all of this group interactions and group cycling, the addiction got converted. I think passion, addiction, everything increased.
Okay.
And I thought I'm liking it so much, I'll have to take it to the next level. Now what was the next level? I didn't even know. So then you started meeting people, understanding how to basically go the next step in the cycling journey. And then you come across this club called Audax.
Okay.
So Audax is one of the oldest clubs in the world. It's more than 100 years old. It's based out of France. It has affiliate clubs in all over the world. Every country has affiliate clubs, smaller clubs in every city, state, etc. And they organize long distance rides.
Okay.
So 200 kilometers, 300, 400, 600, 1000, 1200, 1500. And that's when you start the journey of becoming a super runner. So a super runner or SR for short, that's somebody who's completed 200, 300, 400, 600 in 1 year.
Oh.
I have never done a 200. I was probably doing 100 kilometers maybe every weekend sorts, but that was also grueling for me. But now how do you start the journey?
So it is 100 kilometers a day, that was it.
So 100 kilometers when we were doing, every Saturday or Sunday we used to start early morning, maybe take 4-5 hours and complete a 100 kilometer ride.
Okay.
And get back to our usual rides. So when you are going to a 200 or a 300, 400, I think the planning changes. And I was probably not even prepared at that point in time to understand how much it takes a toll on the body, what preparation it requires. So I think the first cycling group that I was a part of, there was a group of people going for this SR journey, and that's when I also said, okay, let's just try it out. So instead of starting with the 200 or 300, we started with the 400.
Okay.
400 is the toughest out of the lot, because in a 400 you are typically not sleeping. You have to beat sleep. That's the hack of the ride, because the time, it's time ride. So for a 400 you will have a specified time, and you will be technically riding also in the ride. 200 you will be completing in full day, 300 maybe some extended portions into the night, but not hitting your sleep time. But 400 you will definitely hit that 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. patch, which is the most dreadful to beat sleep. We started with the 400, went off nicely, because I think the body was so much in momentum because of the consistency. The toll was manageable on the body. Then we completed the first SR, and that's when I realized I'm not stopping with the first SR. Let's just keep continuing and see what all happens.
So you were able to do it?
Yeah. So one series completed, second series completed, then third series completed, and that's when I started fading away to a solo trainer regime, because now I realized, because the goals have been set at a very high thing, I can't be just having a social ride every day. And that's when, unfortunately, while you love meeting people every day, because those were the set of people who pushed me towards this journey.
It became a community.
Yeah, and that's a very strong feeling. I still have a very good bond with all these communities that I was part of. I'm still part of. I try giving back whatever I think experience or knowledge that I've gained from other fellow riders, senior riders of mine. But I think at some point in time, you'll have to either go solo or you have to find somebody who matches the same training mindset.
Yes.
So that becomes essential. That's when I moved. So after my 2 SRs, probably 2 years back, I thought something was still stopping me from performing better. I did a deep dive analysis. So I'm a lawyer by profession. You always get into the root of the problem. Try getting to understand where the bottleneck is. And then I realized this smoking habit is probably not letting me perform better. So my lung capacity is weaker. I get tired quicker compared to a fellow rider with equal performance levels. And that's when it was an instant decision. I still remember we were on a staycation with my school friends. We were 7-8 couples with children and all. So a nice group of people. 25th December, 2 years back, heavily smoking. 26th, 0.
Since then it is 0?
Since then it's clean.
Oh.
Not even...
what was that immediate click on that day?
So that was, I was starting my one more SR series in the January season. And I realized, let's just try this as an experiment and let's just quit it. Let's see how the body reacts.
Okay.
So
this was a strong resolution you
had. This was more of a resolution and a commitment to myself, because cycling had become so much important for me.
Part of life.
Yeah. And it brought me back from a phase where I was jobless and where I had nothing to do. And you also demotivated and also, I'll say, you don't show it to the family, but you are not at peace. Because you know you are one of the contributors to the family, you got responsibilities, and if you're not earning sitting at home, that's one of the pressure points. So that was also there, and cycling helped me walk through that essential phase. That, I think, bonded. And it just grew from there. And that's because I wanted to go much higher and much further in this journey. It was instant for me to say I'll quit smoking tomorrow. Not even tomorrow. I think 26th morning we were having tea in the morning with all of us friends sitting, and as it is, you just start smoking in the morning itself with tea. So one of my friends offered. I was like, no, I quit. He was like, कितनी बार छोड़ेगा? मैं कहा नहीं, अभी छोड़ दिया. कहता क्यों? मैं कहा छोड़, तुम नहीं समझो. And that was it.
This is what happens most of the time. कितनी बार छोड़ेगा?
The
circle brings you back.
So I've thrown so many packs of cigarette outside my car saying I quit today and bought again the next morning. That happens with everyone.
But all of that without the motivation did not work, right?
It never works without a motivation. You'll have to find that factor which will push you so much that you will quit.
Because see, I think the smoking makes such a big space in our life that we need a bigger space to compensate for that.
Yes.
Because see, the more bigger things we create, you need something to fill it. Because if this is a big space that you have a smoking and suddenly it's gone, that void is bothering.
Yes.
It bothers you. So maybe cycling by that time became maybe 3 or 4 times the size of this space consuming your daily life. I think it just consumed it.
And it's also shifts, like, so how it happens is when you're smoking in offices, etc., there'll be a smoking zone. Your friends will always be in the smoking zone. You are also a smoker. You tend to hang up, de-stress, have banter, chit-chat about non-office related stuff, jokes around. So that becomes actually a very nice social point to be in. I'm not saying people start smoking because of that, but I think you're not able to quit because of that, because that is the go-to stress buster.
Yeah.
But when at least I picked up an activity, my circles also started changing. And I'm not saying none of those cyclists don't smoke. I think majority of them also smoke. But when your circles tend to expand and a lot of time is going there, the same thing as you mentioned, it's a 24-hour day, right? Something just decreased and something just increased.
The space got consumed.
Exactly. It got consumed, and now I knew I'm liking this new space. I'll spend lesser time here. So I don't need to probably... So all those inhibitions of how will I survive the period after quitting, etc., it just didn't matter. All I was focused on, complete my work, go home, rest, looking forward to the morning to cycle. Simple
because
as
see,
that.
for a person who was having 2 packs a day, this is a big change.
Very big, very
like
big.
and I think it happened is what I'm observing while listening to you is that this is where the influence circle also matters.
Definitely.
And a motivation matters.
Yes.
And both of them were a green tick for
Yes,
you.
yes,
You had a
yes.
big motivation. And your
Extremely.
influence circle started changing.
Right, right.
So you were looking up to the new influence circle, and your new motivation was so strong that this did not feel a lack. That
Yeah, I was like, this is just holding me back. I don't want
because
it.
you had new targets to achieve now.
Exactly. So when I did this, jokingly, my wife still tells me, cycling is your second wife. Why? Because something has gotten so important for you in a short span of time, and it was not like, now this was 2 years back. I haven't quit cycling. I haven't reduced it. It's just gone above. We've moved from a non-structured regime to a structured regime of training. It's a full training plan that I follow. We get guidance from a lot many senior riders, and it's a beautiful community to be a part of. I've known myself better. And when I say better, there were feelings inside that I didn't even know exist. So on such rides, the bigger rides, the multi-day rides, when you're all alone, it's a different world. It's spiritual for me now.
I think it is meditative also.
Very meditative. There will be hours on the saddle when you're riding which you can't recall after the ride. And people ask me, how is it possible? You were riding, right? You were maneuvering traffic, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yes. But I don't know what happened in those couple of hours. I don't know. So that's what happens. So I quit smoking, went forward, did did 2 more SR series, and then thought, बहुत SR हो गया, अभी इसको भी रोकना पड़ेगा, कुछ और ढूंढते हैं. So then I figured there's a 1,000-kilometer ride also. And I went for that. We were 4 friends, a bunch of 4, rode together predominantly, had a jovial time, enjoyed to the core, came back to Delhi, and then it was like, अब क्या? ये भी हो गया. And then we moved to my first attempt at a 1200. And that was essentially one of the toughest 1200s in the country. So it's a full mountain route. You start from Delhi, go to Zirakpur, Chandigarh, and then you go to Una, and then you go to McLeodganj, Dharamshala, and then ride the same route back. It's roughly 11,000, 12,000 meters of elevation and 1200 kilometers. I attempted. I had to drop off at 600 kilometers odd. I went till McLeodganj, but there I had to quit the ride. My right knee had completely jammed. I was not able to bend. I was on the cycle, cleated, logged in, downhill, and I was unable to unlock my feet. That was how the bad situation. I had to use my hand and twist my feet to unlock myself. And that's when I decided it's just too risky for me and I will not continue. Let's just call it off. I think that was the second learning. You were not prepared. You thought you were prepared after a 1,000-kilometer flat ride, Delhi, Amritsar, Delhi, but you were not prepared. So every day you start realizing more about yourself, and then you understand the aftermaths, and then somebody walks in. I won't say I found somebody, but then somebody walks into your life from the community and just guides you. For me, that failure was life-changing. Somebody walked in. That somebody happens to be my coach, my mentor, like an elder brother to me now. And he's been all throughout in this journey guiding me. So when I sum it all up in terms of the journey, I think when you give yourself to something 100%, I truly feel, and I didn't used to believe in all of this. Trust me, before, if you met me 2 years back, I will say sab mazak hai, joke hai. But now I truly believe when you dedicate yourself to something, everything comes together to show you the right path, to make sure you walk the right path, and give you all the support and the tailwinds that you are able to do it.
Things start falling in place.
They just start falling into place. I couldn't have imagined meeting this mentor of mine ever अगर मेरा failure नहीं हुआ था. I couldn't have thought of meeting my second greatest mentor अगर वो failure नहीं हुआ था. I couldn't have understood myself अगर वो failure नहीं हुआ था. That failure is utmost important in my journey. That failure pushed me, and I think acceptance too. It was difficult for me to accept again, just like the running incident, that I failed.
I think that is the most important part. We
Yes.
don't accept
We
failure.
don't accept.
We find blaming, we get into
You'll
blame
find
game, we
someone
find
to blame.
escapes
Yes.
into that. But two things that I really liked about this story that you had is that you accepted failure
Yes.
and you had a positive outlook and mindset still in your mind.
Yes.
So that is what made you find these mentors and guides
Yes.
that you found to guide you further in your journey.
Yes.
You did not look back. You were
Yes.
not willing to go back in your journey. Wow.
And it was magical. So you failed a ride, you hailed an Innova, came back home in a cab. 1 week I did not speak to anyone.
Oh.
Minus my work calls, etc. I did not speak to anyone at home. My wife said, take your time. I know it's not easy. Whenever you want to talk. I just couldn't talk to anyone. It was
this
that
was the
hard.
feeling of
So I was resisting acceptance.
that was that phase of
Yeah, I was just resisting acceptance. But I think 6th or the 7th day, there was somebody on my shoulder and said to me, call Rohan. He's my coach, my mentor, my elder brother sorts. I was like, why call Rohan? The voice again said, call Rohan. I was like, okay. I texted Rohan. So we had started some interaction because all of us were preparing for Paris-Brest-Paris in the same year. It was in August. I failed in Feb. So I texted. I was like, listen, I don't know why I'm doing this, but let me know when you have a couple of minutes. I just want to speak. I don't know who to speak to. So I just want to speak to you. And I don't know why I want to speak to you, but I want to speak to you. So he instantly replied. He called me back. He was like, bol kya hua? Tasalli se bol. We spoke around 1.5 hours. It was a blessing for me. I was able to tell somebody how I felt truly honestly, and that too for the first time talking in detail with someone. But the bond
he was your listener for
yeah, he was my listener. He listened to me for more than an hour.
It's very rare to find good listeners these days.
Yes.
And I think that is where Rohan helped you out.
Yes, completely. And the last part of the conversation, he just told me, this is the problem, and this is the problem. We'll have to fix it.
Okay.
Don't worry, everything will be fixed. Don't worry that you'll screw your PBB. You will do it. We will make sure together you will do it.
Great.
Relax. We recover first and then we'll build up.
Great.
I think the next 4 months were pure madness. We had a solid build up to do for me. Otherwise, I was failing the PBB for sure. PBB is a ride in Paris. You start from Paris, go to Brest, come back. Again, a high elevation route. 11,000, 12,000 meters of elevation. New country, new weather, new people. You don't know how the food's going to be managed, etc. So many different trajectories also. India is easy, right? You stop at dhaba, eat, move.
Yeah.
You don't know what happens there. But we had guidances from all these people who've done. But again, high pressure, right? International podium. Technically, you are representing the country. It's 100 odd people representing India, different states, all over the country you will participate from. So imagine the stress levels. But I think he was always there telling me, हो जाएगा, कर लेगा, हो जाएगा. One day at a time. One day. So वहाँ से I also picked up. There's a beautiful. The essence of Gita is कर्म कर फल की चिंता मत.
Correct.
So again I say I will dedicate myself 100% to something if I say yes to it. It's difficult that I say yes to it. So I say yes to my job, I say yes to my family, I say yes to cycling. कुछ और है तो I'll think. मैं बताऊंगा.
अभी 3 है.
हाँ, तो मैं 50-50 नहीं कर सकता. If I'm in, I'm all in. If I'm not, I'm not. I'll tell you on day 0. But if I'm in, I'll give my 100%. 100 से ऊपर दे नहीं पाऊंगा. 100 से नीचे दूंगा नहीं. उसके बाद अब जो होगा, we'll figure it out. वो देखा जाएगा. I can't control everything. There's so many parameters. Right? In a corporate job, you are a contributor to a project.
Yeah.
You can't control the outcome, right? So I tell उसकी tension मैं नहीं लूँगा. That I've learned from this guy, and now I imbibe this. So you walk, you dedicate, move into the event or any aspect of your life, stress free. We'll see what happens. We'll figure a way out.
This attitude is actually a life-changing attitude.
Yes.
It just breaks that baggage that we carry. We are always carrying a baggage.
You're always stressed, right?
We are always looking for the expectation or a result or something like that. Always holding that up. Once you have this attitude, that big bag is off your shoulder. And you feel very, very free.
And then there is also baggage. दुनिया क्या बोलती है?
बहुत सारे baggage हम लेके घूमते हैं. We've learned it while growing up.
Yes.
These baggages came to us unconditionally. Like we just picked them from our social ecosystem. without awareness.
Right.
And then we face problems when we grow up.
Yes.
So that
and
is where
it's difficult to fight all of this because your head tells you this is normal.
Because we have seen it now.
Yeah, exactly. So subconsciously you pick this up all through your life.
Yes.
Interactions with school, college, so many counterparts, etc. But then when you tell yourself, I don't know, hoga dekh lenge. And then some people are shocked when you say this because they're like, Are, result driven. No, I can't be result driven. I can focus to achieve the result. I can't stress myself for the result. There's a difference.
Yeah.
And as soon as I go with your approach, मैं आज से टेंशन में हूँ क्या होगा
Correct. बिल्कुल exactly.
मैं अपना 100 दे ही नहीं पाऊंगा. I don't want that. I want to give my 100 stress, मतलब with no stress, and then we'll see. We'll find a way. सब कुछ नहीं हो पाएगा.
That's a very good mindset and a very good takeaway from the journey that you have had so far. Hitesh, also tell me about this recent heart attack that happened in Bangalore.
Right.
What happened? What is the technical story here? Because we know a lot of commenting happened on that. Right. But tell me the real thing.
So I think a lot of chatter is happening. And with all due respect to everyone, I think everybody is just sharing their views without knowing.
Without awareness.
Yeah. So I possibly also don't know very much because I'm not a doctor and I don't know what happened with the person. But he was a very senior, very respected rider. I think one of the cycling icons of the India, if I may rightly put it. He was clocking 100 kilometers daily, and he used to cycle on a single speed cycle. So which is another big achievement as per my standards, because when you are riding non-gear, it's difficult to manage terrain, it's harder. It's, I believe, 1200 something days he had already done continuously 100 kilometers daily, without fail, without anything. If I also recall the facts correctly, he was somebody who had surpassed the world record holder of a continuous century ride. But he denied to take the record because he was just wanting to motivate people to a healthy, active lifestyle. He was also a fitness coach. So he was not somebody who did not understand his body. He was not somebody who did not understand the limits a body has. I think a lot of chatter is going on that he was taking less rest, less recovery, less sleep. I don't know what all chatter is happening, but I truly feel he knew what he was doing. The body talks to you. It's not that the body doesn't talk to you. You understand signals. And there is nobody who disowns or disregards the signal at this level. I am probably maybe one small percentage or one small iota, 0 point something percent of that person and understanding my body. But even I can feel the signals when my body tells me, Hitesh, you need to rest. Whenever that happens, I do not do anything. I just take 2 steps back, recover back to my base positions and then do it. So somebody telling us that it was a lack of rest, lack of recovery, lack of sleep, this lifestyle pushed his heart to the extreme and all of that, I don't know. It's hard to believe. I am not a doctor, neither are those people, doctors who are just sharing all these stories and reels. It's just probably somebody wanting to get more views, I don't know. But again, everybody has a right. Last I checked, India was still free. So everybody has a right to say their opinion. But I think what I feel is he knew what he was doing. It was not that he overlooked essential symptoms. It was not that he overlooked essential parameters. And also, factually, the body also adapts. As you keep moving forward, everything becomes stronger inside you. So after somebody who's maybe more than roughly 3 years, if I compute 1200 something, it's roughly 3 years. So 3 years of non-stop cycling, I'm sure the body adapted. I'm sure the strength was there. I'm sure everything was in the right place. But as it always happens, it's life. You can't predict it. There could be billion other reasons why the heart failed.
And also, do you think there's an impact of, because everyone has a different heredity, different genes coming in?
Could be anything.
Because see, you can change a lot of things in life. But some things are given to you. You can definitely, there is a plasticity that happens that you can improve your genes over time. But maybe a heart health as a condition can be given to you in your genes. You never know. So commenting on it openly can be disturbing also. Because
and also you'll have to see the data in a data matrix. So this is getting hyped because somebody had an active lifestyle, pushing to the limits maybe at the start of what he was doing, but not today. This was not his limit now. This was a usual lifestyle. But there's so many people who would have probably died of heart attack in the same day for multiple reasons.
But
now,
these are the hype that the people are creating are
Exactly.
those who don't want to be healthy in life, who are not following mostly a healthy routine. These are the ones hyping it the most because see it happens
Could
most
be
of the
anything.
it happens most of the time is that a person who is resisting something,
Yes.
if they find a bias or a news around that,
Yes.
they get very excited.
Could be any reason. So I'll say, instead of hyping, we could only possibly have a route of saying, such great person who did all of this, brought pride to the city, brought pride to the nation, is no more with us.
Yeah.
Heart attacks can happen. I've seen one of my last organizations. I remember that sad day, somebody just collapsed on their desk. We were working. And he was the IT guy. I was calling him from the phone. Nobody was responding. I just went to the different floor and I saw he was collapsed. There was a lot many people around him. I was like, this is life, right? You don't know what happens and you don't know what the reasons could be. So nobody should be commenting on the reasons. Nobody should be pinpointing that this was the reason, because I don't think anybody has reached that critical analysis of the entire event that you can start commenting.
True.
And this also spreads a negative vibe.
Yeah.
Why is the negative vibe being spread? There's no reason. This pushes away maybe somebody from pursuing an active lifestyle.
True.
So that shouldn't be done. So let's take it as, it's a sad event, unfortunately, but let's just let it pass. It's a sad time
let
for the
the
family.
soul, let the soul rest in peace.
Yeah.
Hitesh, tell me about this cycling as a culture. It is very, very, very established in the European countries and other parts of the world. Is it coming to India, and what are the roadblocks? Like, for example, is pollution also, because see, when you are cycling, you are exposed to the pollution.
Yes.
And wearing mask also hinders you in your breathing, a lot of things. So what can people do? I know a lot of people are getting interested into cycling, but will it ever become a lifestyle to go to office or something like that?
So I'll say a couple of factors here. I think yes, it is catching up in our country. I still remember 2016, 2017, early days of my cycling. There was nobody on the road. There were very less people on the road cycling. You used to be all alone and people used to be amazed.
And it spiked up, I think, in COVID. Cycle sales in COVID was the highest.
Yes, it spiked up a lot post-COVID, during the COVID period. So I think as a culture, it has moved. Today, as a alternate or as a way of healthy lifestyle, people pick cycling. People also pick running and swimming. So you will also notice a lot of triathletes coming into play, and all of them are also having regular professional lives.
True.
They are not somebody dedicated only to sports. But for a healthy life, people are shifting. So that shift is happening.
That was a good shift during COVID.
True, very good shift. I think that actually made people realize the important things in life.
That break.
Yes.
That break in life got them that awareness that I'm not fit. Let's get to fitness.
So mindset is there. Now what are the roadblocks? I'll say, more than the pollution, I'll say the roadblock is infrastructure. We don't have dedicated lanes. So if you
cannot be cycling with cars in the city.
You have to. That's the only option.
Yeah, that is the only option.
Ask us. We to run on national highways doing these grueling rides, and there will be instances that a state transport bus or a vehicle just goes maybe 6 inches away from you. So all that we train our mind is, देखो वो मारेगा नहीं, पास से निकलेगा तो just stay stable. If you just don't stay stable, you're gone. That's the only thing you can train yourself for, and then hope for the best. But I think infrastructure is a big lag.
Big roadblock.
Yeah, so you probably would have seen some cycling tracks within the city, but that is regular commute tracks, right? उसमें भी वो ready and the hawkers take it over, and I'm not blaming them. They also have to earn their livelihood. रोड पे सरकार लगाने नहीं देती, लाइसेंस है नहीं, अब गरीब बंदा भी क्या करेगा? He finds a place, he puts it. So nobody falls, but वो infrastructure one.
See, I think the roads have been improving, but I hope Nitin Gadkari sir is listening to this, and I think he also implements something for the cycling ecosystem. जैसे चंडीगढ़ में, for example, थोड़ा बहुत है.
है काफी. चंडीगढ़ में every road has a parallel cycling track.
Yes,
and it is decent.
Yes, that kind of a planning should at least come to the new cities that are being planned. For example, the new Gurgaon that is coming up. चलो आप पुराने गुड़गांव में नहीं कर पा रहे हो. For example, can you do it in the new area that is being established?
Very important. So some commute network for sure within the city, and I think one thing more, because when people pick this up as a healthy lifestyle, I'll say some of them may not use it for commute. Like I personally will not probably use it for commute not because I don't want to do it, but because my daily office work life is so scattered that I may have to go here, there, here. I can't be going on a cycle here, there, etc. with a suit and a blazer on, right? True. So that's difficult. So for those people, I'll say inspiration should also be taken from the European nations wherein you have tracks, dedicated tracks within cities.
Yeah.
So I was in Amsterdam a couple of months back. So the regular right route there was Amsterdam, Haarlem, Amsterdam. It's a city which is 25 odd kilometers away from Amsterdam Central. Full dedicated cycling track to Haarlem Central.
Wow.
Right parallel to the highway. So you're not alone. So much traffic, just maybe
you're safe,
6 feet down.
Safe from the
yeah, it's a full green belt in between, cycle track and a highway.
Wow.
Keep running. It's very safe.
That should come up. That should come up in the new planning that the government is planning. The roads have dramatically changed, but I think the cycle infrastructure still is
needs
pending.
to be there. And then the government, obviously, the rules do not allow on national highways, right?
Yeah.
It's difficult. So that also pushes people away.
Yeah.
So you can't do it.
But at least some intercity routes can be planned or something like that. Maybe Gurgaon Alwar can be a good
exactly. Route. So give something to the community, and I'm sure everybody will want to do it there rather than on NH highway.
But I'm glad that that push is happening because a lot of people in COVID bought cycles and are willing to do it. So maybe it is time to look into the infrastructure so that more and more this fitness wave can come into place, and a lot of people can live a healthy lifestyle.
Sure. I think that should happen. Makes it much safer, and I think the families also stay a lot calmer at home, because right now I know my wife's always stressed when I'm on the road. She is always stressed. So you share an AirTag location with her always. She knows where you are. If it's moving, he's okay. If it's moving, he's okay. That's the underlying
fear that comes into the family.
It's a lot of family orientation also. And I think on the pollution bit, there are now, I think I've seen masks which adapt well, which do not restrict your breathing also. There are sports masks available. I haven't personally tried. I've seen my friends try
There's something like this big one,
Nirvana
mask, which has silicone.
I've seen something, but and they don't restrict breathing. Otherwise, the masks generally restrict your air intake.
That has a free flow from the side, something like that. That is a very well-designed mask.
So I saw that with some running friends of mine, and they were telling me it works well. I haven't tried it, so I think I adapted to the pollution. I don't know rightly, wrongly, but I think definitely cleaner air makes it much better.
Maybe with more EV or something like that, or maybe some dedicated.
So I think that is also very sensitive. So EV is electronic, but where is the electricity coming from? If it's a thermal power,
it is a big debate. I agree to the point, and I know that EV is causing even bigger pollution. Compared to petroleum, but the only hack that they've managed is that it is not causing pollution in your city. It is just causing pollution in a remote place where they're making mining for minerals to make batteries. But that battery manufacturing is so polluting. But the only thing they have to they're winning on is that your car in your city won't pollute. It is completely debatable. I think something hybrid or hydrogen should work better. So I think within next 10 years,
I think next 10 years is going to be a major shift in a lot of public or private movements. I think that's going to happen. And also, I think the cycling bit will also moving to electric cycles. So you don't have to pedal. I think the other problem that people may have going to offices, in the weather like Delhi, you'll sweat a lot in summers, right? Who wants to be smelly and sweaty at work? You don't want to be, and you won't have shower rooms. So I remember one of my last offices, I told them, if you give me a change room in the office, I'll cycle to work every day. But the infrastructure in the office spaces, in the buildings, do not allow for that. It's practically difficult.
Very rare.
My CEO approved the request, and he was like, as soon as we shift the office, we will have it done. But I shifted offices before they shifted offices. But I think that is another problem. So with the battery cycles in place, I think what's going to happen is you can hybrid pedal some battery, less effort, less sweat, go to office. I think that city bike needs to come in. And that's if you even see the European side of the things, it has made way. So Amsterdam, majority of the people have those city bikes which are battery run, very quickly chargeable.
So you can at least go to the market, grocery shopping.
Exactly. You don't have to put your car at stress, burn some petrol or diesel for like 5 kilometers. You don't have to. So that initial push, some infrastructure, some change in mindset, all of that together.
Great. Hitesh, give me 1 or 2 takeaways for the viewers who are watching this. Maybe someone who is severely addicted right now and wants to come out of smoking. And for someone who's willing to get into cycling as a hobby and go deeper into it, some 1 or 2 takeaways for them to at least find solutions to something they're stuck at, because getting out of addiction is not easy, and getting deeper into cycling can be taxing. What are your takeaways?
So I tell people it's very easy to quit smoking. Find the purpose. if your purpose is weaker than the addiction of smoking, it will never succeed.
True.
So your purpose has to be at least some bit bigger than the addiction.
Completely agreed. 100%.
So it's a magnet, right? Something pulls you. If it's smoking being stronger, you can't quit.
Yeah.
The purpose needs to be very stronger.
It has to be bigger to pull you faster and
I think everybody who's a smoker and wants to quit, I think the families are also pushing them to quit. If the family is not bigger reason, then my friend, you will definitely find something from the external world. I don't know. Everybody would have a different driving. Maybe somebody, unfortunately, after the first heart attack realizes I need to spend more time with my children. That is the purpose. I realized my sport was the purpose. It could be anything.
You have to find your purpose to quit smoking.
Yes, and a lot many people reach out to me and tell me, okay, I've quit, but I have these cravings and urges of taking one cigarette a day. So how do I cut that? I was like, I don't have an answer because my purpose was so strong. I didn't have any cravings. I did not have.
I think you're right. The cravings stay if the purpose is not that strong.
Yes. So my mind knew that this is the strongest decision I have probably made. And the reason is also a strong enough reason. So my mind knew Hitesh will not budge on this. So let's not even give him cravings. Or if the cravings came, I think the purpose killed them instantaneously. I tell him, people tell me it's difficult, Hitesh, nasha hai, uthani padti hai cigarette, pen pakad lo, ye kar lo. I was like, yaar, mere saath to kuch hua nahi, sorry. I can't guide you. My purpose was so strong, unfortunately.
Okay.
So I think that is one.
And for cycling?
I think for cycling, एक चीज जो नहीं होती which I truly feel should be there for everyone, and I also learned it the hard way, has to be a training regime. आप ऐसा नहीं कर सकते कि आप आज 5 किलोमीटर फिर 10 किलोमीटर मन हुआ आज 25 कर लिया आज 50 कर लिया चल आज 100 करके आते हैं. That is stressing your body. There has to be a build up. So अभी addiction है, जोश में with the company with a good friend set आप सब कर लेते हो, but that is taking toll. What you need to do is
injury हो जाएगी, you will fall back.
Injury हो जाएगी. मे भी कुछ किसी दिन ज्यादा थक के आ गए, थोड़ा ब्लैकआउट टाइप हो गया, यू विल से अरे
डीमोटिवेट हो जाओगे.
वो मोटिवेशन जीरो हो जाता है. एंड मोटिवेशन का भी आई कम टू मोटिवेशन, दैट्स अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग वर्ड यू टच्ड. सो इन द जर्नी यू विल हैव टू बिल्ड अप. इट्स अ स्लो प्रोसेस. लेट्स नॉट स्पीडन इट अप. इट विल नॉट हैपन. आई फेल्ड. आई लर्न द हार्ड वे. I gave everything to build up. I was in my PBB build up. I was giving 4 to 5 hours a day to build up. Yes, I stressed my body. Yes, I overstretched. I'm sure I overstretched. But I think that was then required. And then I pulled myself back. कि चल ठीक है, body एक level पे आ गई है. Now maintaining चाहिए. Maintaining is a low stress zone. Maintaining is a low input, low time consuming thing. रोज बस momentum रखना है, continue.
And that makes the journey longer and longer.
So my build up unfortunately was stressed, but it doesn't have to be for you. Slow build up, steady build up, you will go way far.
Okay.
Find the right set of people who guides you on how to build strength, because cycling में क्या होता है, आप pedal कर रहे हो, it's a constant motion. But on longer distances, if you want to do longer distances, your back will give up, your thighs will give up, your arms will give up, because it is a stress on the shoulders as well. Strength training बहुत जरूरी है. You have to go to the gym twice a week. You can't avoid a gym. I learned the hard way. I started much later.
Okay.
I think the next big thing which nobody talks is nutrition. How do you build your body? It's not only gym में muscles चाहिए तो मुझे protein चाहिए, but protein क्या करता है? Protein helps your muscles recover also. You are breaking muscles on a high stress ride. If the muscles break, the impact is gonna be on the bones and the joints. क्योंकि तब तक तो muscle संभाल रही है, muscle छोड़ने के बाद it's immediate joint. That's what happened with me on my first ride when I failed. Muscles were not ready. कभी stress लिया ही नहीं था. They gave up. The knee jammed. Simple as that. So you have to have your intakes very strongly. And when I say intake, nutrition, your ride nutrition, your build up to the ride, carb loading कब चाहिए, कितने carbs मुझे consume करने हैं every hour में, how much I am burning. You need to, it's a math. Excel sheet बना लो, कितना consume करूँगा हर घंटे और कितना खाऊँगा. It has to be a net positive. If you are depleting more, then at the end of the day you are gone. And body के साथ क्या है, if you are depleted, if you've gone to the death zone, नहीं उठ पाओगे. Very difficult to get back. So you should always fuel yourself rightly, pre-event and during the event. Less people guide you on that, but I think find somebody around in your community. There are beautiful sets of communities around. इतने सारे cycling groups, and I interact with everyone in Delhi NCR, and everyone is nice. They are willing to help. It's just that you should not be shy of taking help.
Yeah.
Matlab, don't project to be an ace.
Yeah.
I tell everyone I am a jack of all trades, and I don't want to be an ace. I am a jack. I'll be the happy-go-lucky guy.
Attitude. I love that attitude for myself also.
Exactly.
That is something that keeps you up for life, not too stressed,
yes,
and not too like caught up in things.
Yes.
It just keeps you up.
Yes, and I won't be shy to say, मुझे नहीं आता. मुझे बता दोगे कैसे करना है. I am sure मैं कर दूंगा. But मुझे बता दो, please guide.
Good.
That is, I think, very important.
Very good. What was it that you were speaking about motivation?
So motivation is a myth.
Okay.
So होता क्या है? आज मैं कोई बहुत अच्छा मूवी देख के आया, feel good movie. I am motivated to do this thing in my life. कल करूँगा, परसों भूल जाऊँगा. मूवी खत्म. Life back to normal.
Sudden dopamine spike के लिए होता है.
सब खत्म हो जाता है. So yes, people motivate and inspire you. So I tell everyone, I may motivate and inspire you. I am very much thankful आपने मुझे मैसेज भेजा. I am truly in gratitude. But अगर truly मैंने इंस्पायर करा है, so please be inspired with the discipline. Don't get inspired by कि हाँ मैं ये बंदा मुझे मोटिवेट करता है. मेरे डिसिप्लिन से प्लीज कुछ उठा लेना. एंड डिसिप्लिन क्या होता है? जब मोटिवेशन नहीं है ना तो एक स्केड्यूल फॉलो हो रहा है. आई मे बी नॉट वांटिंग टू गेट अप एट 4 AM एंड वर्कआउट, बट अगर मुझे करना है तो मैं करूंगा. करना है तो मुझे करना है. If my training plan wants it, I will do it. The only exception being
the training plan becomes supreme. The discipline becomes
the discipline
supreme.
has to be there. Consistency and discipline are the distinguishing factors. ठीक है, आपको मोटिवेशन मिल जाती है, आप शुरू कर देते हो.
So what you're saying is, and what I agree to is that motivation is a good starting
starter.
point.
बस
is a starting point.
Yes.
But उसके बाद का कुछ और चाहिए होगा. Otherwise क्या होगा ना, वो drops आते रहेंगे. You spike up, spike down, spike up, spike down.
और वो जैसे ही spike down होता है ना, you lose all progress made.
Correct.
So consistency,
agreed.
Every day one step takes you further.
Motivation very well defined.
That is the difference.
Yeah, good. It was amazing talking to you, Hitesh. Superb conversation, and I hope the cycle lovers and someone who is willing to come out of addiction watches this and maybe also speaks to you for some further knowledge. It was great talking to you.
Same here, Pranav.
Thank
Pleasure.
you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Hi, thank you for watching till the end. I hope you really liked the video. Please do comment below and tell us your feedback, and also tell us the guests that you would like to have on the show. We will definitely try and invite them and have on the show to discuss different aspects of well-being. Also, please do not forget to like, subscribe and share, because that helps us to reach out to more and more people to have the impact that we are working for. Thank you very much.